5% of the most valuable private company on earth. That's what Sam Altman just floated handing to the United States government. And the reason he'd give away a stake worth potentially $50 billion is not generosity, it's fear. Fear of something specific coming for OpenAI. If you use ChatGPT, work in tech, or pay taxes, this quietly reshapes who owns the future you're building. Here's why now. OpenAI is racing to convert from a nonprofit into a for-profit machine, and that conversion needs political cover. According to The Verge, Altman floated giving the Trump administration a 5% ownership stake to ease tensions and blunt the public backlash against AI. The players, Sam Altman, the Trump White House, and roughly 300 million weekly ChatGPT users caught in between. But here's where it gets interesting. Most coverage stops here. The real story doesn't. So let's break down what a government stake actually means. Fact 1. OpenAI was recently valued around $500 billion. 5% of that is $25 billion. That's not a symbolic gesture. That's the government becoming one of the largest single beneficiaries of a company it's also supposed to regulate. Think about what that means for you personally. The agency meant to protect you from a runaway AI now has a financial reason to want that AI to win. Fact 2. Altman's public argument is that giving the public a financial interest is the fairest way to share the upside of AI. It sounds democratic, give everyone a piece, but there's a gap between the public and the sitting administration. Handing equity to a government isn't the same as handing it to citizens. One of those distributes power, the other concentrates it. Quick one. If this is useful, a like genuinely helps more people find it. Fact 3. This floated stake comes exactly as OpenAI needs. Washington's blessing for its restructuring, its chip deals, and its energy demands. The timing isn't accidental. It's leverage dressed as charity. There's a twist here almost no one is talking about. Here's the angle everyone's missing. This isn't really about ownership, it's about immunity. When a government owns a slice of your company, regulating you becomes regulating itself. Every antitrust case, every safety mandate, every restriction now cuts into the Treasury's own returns. Altman isn't buying goodwill. He's buying a conflict of interest so deep that meaningful oversight becomes almost impossible. Look at who benefits and who doesn't. Altman wins. He neutralizes his single biggest threat, which is a hostile Washington. The administration wins. It gets a headline stake in the AI boom and a talking point about sharing the wealth. The villain here isn't a person, it's the structure itself. Because the loser is the ordinary user and the smaller AI startup that now competes against a company the government is financially invested in seeing succeed. Think about your own position in this. If you're a developer building on a rival model, you're now up against a competitor with a shareholder that writes the laws. If you're a citizen worried about AI safety, your watchdog just got handed a bonus check tied to AI acceleration. That's the personal stakes. Don't drop off now. The ending ties this together. There's precedent people forget. Governments taking equity in strategic industries. Banks in 2008, car makers, defense firms. It rarely made those industries safer for the public. It made them too intertwined to touch. So here's the payoff. The thing that should genuinely stop you, that 5% isn't a gift to the public. It's the price of regulatory capture. And it's cheap. $25 billion sounds enormous, but against a company Altman believes will be worth trillions, and against the alternative of aggressive federal oversight that could break the whole model apart, 5% is the smallest insurance premium in corporate history. He's not sharing the upside. He's buying protection from the one force powerful enough to stop him, using shares that cost him nothing to print. And here's my bold prediction. This exact playbook spreads. Within 2 years, expect at least one more frontier AI lab to float a government stake of its own, framed as public benefit, engineered as political armor. The nonprofit to empire pivot won't be stopped by regulators. It'll be sponsored by them. None of this was ever about generosity. It was about who holds the leash and quietly making sure no one does. Before I go, here is your tech tip of the day. If you work with large language models through an API, stop paying for tokens you're wasting on repeated context. Most people resend the same system prompt on every single call. Instead, use prompt caching. Both OpenAI and Anthropic now support it. Structure your request so the static repeated portion of your prompt comes first, then the variable user input last. The provider caches that stable prefix and charges you a fraction of the normal rate on cache hits, sometimes 90% less. On high volume apps, that's the difference between a hobby project and a bankrupt one. Check your provider's docs for the exact cache control, header or parameter, put your boilerplate up top, and watch your bill drop overnight. That is your tip for today. If a government stake in OpenAI feels like a story you'll want to watch unfold, this is the channel for it. Tell me in the comments, public benefit or regulatory capture. Subscribe to FutureEdge and I'll see you tomorrow with the next one.